The film opens not in the smoke of Birmingham, but in the eerie silence of a remote country estate. It's 1940, and a gray-haired Tommy Shelby lives in self-imposed exile, his only companion being the loyal Johnny Dogs. Tommy is a shell of his former self, spending his days writing a manuscript titled The Immortal Man. He is plagued by vivid hallucinations of his deceased daughter, Ruby, and the weight of his suicided brother Arthur. The peace is shattered when Ada Thorne arrives with grim news. The Peaky Blinders, now led by Tommy's illegitimate son Duke, played by Barry Keoghan, have become a lawless, nihilistic force. Duke has turned the garrison into a sleazy den and is losing his grip on the family's moral compass. We shift to the grimy streets of Small Heath. A Luftwaffe night raid decimates a munitions factory, killing scores of female workers, a scene that serves as a visceral reminder that the world is at war. Amidst this chaos, we meet the film's antagonist, John Beckett, Tim Roth, a Nazi sympathizer. Beckett has a plan to cripple the British economy by flooding it with £70 million in counterfeit currency produced in concentration camps. Duke, feeling abandoned by Tommy and fueled by a reckless ambition, begins a dangerous flirtation with Beckett's operation, agreeing to help distribute the funny money. Meanwhile, Tommy is approached by Colo Chiriclo, the twin sister of Zelda Chiriclo, with whom Tommy had conceived Duke. Calling Tommy the Ram Barrow, or the Gypsy King, Colo claims to have spoken to Arthur from beyond the grave, and goads Tommy into divulging that he had accidentally killed Arthur, who had acted erratically under the influence of opium. She nevertheless interprets Tommy's act as a kindness, and convinces him to return to Birmingham to save Duke, whom she deduces is in trouble. Tommy, looking aged and weary, finally puts on his signature overcoat and cap. The king is returning to Birmingham, not for power, but for his son. Elsewhere, Beckett discovers that Ada had collected testimony of Duke's raid at the factory and that she intends to submit it to the military police, which could derail his plot. He orders Duke to kill Ada, but Duke emotionally fumbles at the last minute. Beckett, who had anticipated this, kills Ada himself, much to Duke's helplessness. Tommy learns of Ada's death and confronts Duke, admonishing him for his ill-disciplined ways. He learns of the plot from Duke, and plans to kill Beckett at the mortuary where Ada's body is, deducing that Beckett would be there to kill him as well. At the mortuary, Tommy confesses to his deceased sister the true nature of Arthur's death. He had killed Arthur after becoming exasperated by his volatility. Beckett appears and tries to kill Tommy, but escapes after an exchange of gunfire. Meanwhile, Colo privately visits Duke and instructs him to ally with his father, and hands him a bullet inscribed with Tommy's name in order to kill him after achieving their common goal. In a quiet clearing on the outskirts of Birmingham, Tommy Shelby and the remaining Peaky Blinders gather around a wooden wagon prepared in the old Romani way, Ada's body laid within it, wrapped and surrounded by her personal belongings. Ada Shelby is not buried, she is given to the fire. Charlie Strong, Curly, and the old guard stand in silence caps as the flames are lit. The fire rises slowly, consuming the wagon, crackling into the gray sky while no one speaks. Tommy stands closest, unmoving, his face hardened but his eyes fixed on the flames, as if watching both his sister and the last piece of his humanity disappear with her. There are no tears, no words, only fire, tradition, and vengeance. And as the flames grow stronger, so does the quiet understanding among the men. This is not just a farewell, it is the beginning of war. Tommy, who has now reassumed his leadership of the Peaky Blinders, plans to use the arrival of the counterfeit money to defeat Beckett, with the assistance of his old allies Charlie Strong, Curly and dockyard boss Hayden Stagg, who has traced Beckett's car to a warehouse at the Liverpool docks. However, Duke reconnects with Beckett and promises to ensure the safe passage of the counterfeit money, as was previously agreed. Tommy plans to have the Blinders travel by barge to Liverpool to confront Beckett's Nazi mercenaries, while he travels through a disused tunnel to surprise Beckett personally. Both teams are to strike simultaneously at midnight. Before leaving, Tommy has a private audience with Colo and reveals he is aware of her intentions, but does not explicitly oppose it. Beckett, who has been personally warned by Duke of the plan, has his forces intercept the barges, not knowing that they are rigged with explosives. The resulting detonation kills the mercenaries. Duke reveals to a surprised Beckett that he had chosen to support his father all along, before escaping. The Blinders arrive and kill the remaining of Beckett's mercenaries. Tommy, who has arrived as well, uses a landmine to successfully incinerate the counterfeit money, thus suppressing the plot. Beckett attempts to escape in his car, and exchanges gunfire with Tommy, with the former managing to wound the latter before being killed. Tommy attempts to dive in front of Beckett's speeding car, but Duke saves him in time. Mortally wounded, Tommy encourages Duke to kill him with the bullet Colo gave him. Duke resists, but eventually Tommy dies reciting the first line of the poem in the bleak midwinter, having finally attained peace. Duke, now the new Ram Barrow, leads the Peaky Blinders in conducting a gypsy funeral for their fallen leader.